Hi there, welcome back to Shadows Awakening. Picking up where we left off last time in the Nomads camp, where we are redeeming ourselves for selling out the city of Thol. We've shown them an escape route, but as we pointed out, they're not just going to let them leave, so we're going to have to come out here and distract the besieging forces, largely by kicking the shit out of them. Which is a bit of a conundrum, because if we could just come out here and defeat the besieging army, why didn't we just do that? We'll find out. But what we did do was, quite accidentally, acquire the leader of the Nomads, which is this Knoll boy who has a very high-pitched voice, which is still entertaining me. But at this juncture, he looks like he's going to potentially be a pretty fun character to play. And we've got the rest of this nomad camp ahead of us that we need to slaughter our way out of. So why don't we get going with that and make him kill his former comrades? Feels like the right thing to do. I phrased that wrong. Feels like the fun thing to do. All right, so let's tromp around with this guy and see exactly how good he's going to be. Remember, we got an axe throw, we've got a berserk. All right, yeah, he's definitely pretty durable. Let's see here. Throw down that little combo. You're gonna get, oh. I actually expected that axe to kind of saw through them, but it looks like it doesn't actually over-penetrate targets. That might be something that we would be able to, you know, spec it into or something like that, so I don't know. Just gonna stop and soak up some of these soul juices here. Alright. Poor Chitin Helm. I've never seen a rich one. Okay, we got a couple more of these guys. Dire Soul Ravens. But yeah, definitely Zul there. He feels pretty fun to play. Thank you. Alright. Yeah, he feels pretty cool. So we're going to run around with him a little bit more. Up until this point, you know, Evia's playstyle has really been what I've been focusing on, just because it felt the most fun to play. And so I didn't really have a melee character that I was that interested in playing. This guy, though, like, look at that. Nice. All right, fair enough. You could grow on me, you weirdly voiced character. He's got a little bit of a... Yeah, I think it's because he's dual weapon. Sometimes, like, I'll double click, hoping to, like, slash, and I end up actually getting, like, an extra swing at the end of the fight.
Must we slaughter all my men?
They're not your men anymore, beast.
Yes, I was about to say, we must slaughter all of your men. And you'll note that I could be using Evia to do this. She's quite good at it. Okay, there we go. Oh, look at this motherfucker. Yes, that feels good. That feels good. Berserk just increases his attack rate, and then we've got this quick spam double slash that's already cooled down and just skull fucks everyone in front of him. You'll pardon my language. You don't need to. Nobody's watching this anyway. I mean, it's so freeing to make YouTube videos for nobody. All right, but we are just progressing here. I'm actually going to have to switch over to demon form. Not so much to kill all these guys, but more just that we don't miss any drops, right? You can see there we go. We already got one. And this might be a little bit of a higher level scholar ring, which obviously is something that I actually want, because that, I believe, is casting speed for my mage. Down you go, pal. Yeah, look at all this. We're getting some good items here, so always kind of worth doing these zones twice. I do feel like that's actually a pretty significant weakness in the game design, and I see kind of why they did it, right? I don't know how big a team. I probably should have looked up at some point, like, you know, what kind of team we're actually talking about with this game. You know, was it a sizable team? Was it a small team? Because realistically, the design choice that drives that implementation of the Shadow Realm would say to me, this was a pretty small team. They had, you know, they made these really sort of nicely implemented but very linear maps, and then they made you do them twice, right? That would say to me that, like, look, man, we had limited resources. We were doing what we could with them, but ultimately, you know, we're going to make you walk through everything twice, basically, just to get the maximum amount of playtime out of it. Which, at least they didn't do that by sort of just couching objectives, you know, like, okay, run through it once, go back, cache the quest, run through it again. I mean, they have been doing that, but not in an egregious amount. Okay, judicial commentary on Zarian law. Now, I'm reading that just because I noticed that it was very tough for me to find which one I just picked up. Again, I'm not going to read this to you, despite my melodic voice being a perfect medium for it. Instead, you can read that for yourself by pausing the video. I remember one of my favorite Let's Players, sort of before everything was a little bit Twitch style for him.
Quickly, through the gate before they close it.
I wonder if Arashad and the others made it.
What? Again, what? Why would they need to make it? We just killed literally everyone. I mean, wouldn't they just go back to normal now? Anyway, there are no nomads. Only Zul. Alright, I'm gonna drop a quick save on that, and it looks like we're through. Okay, so this time around, I believe we're exiting maybe in a different spot, maybe in the same spot. Oh yeah, because they just popped us out this door last time, didn't they? So, alright, she's a little bit quicker moving here, so we're gonna use her to scope around the map. I don't think we're missing anything here. We'll do the little shadow glance, but yeah, I don't think this is regenerated since the last time we were through, so it's back to the Outlands for us. Now, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to head to a cenotaph real quick, because there's
patience for this backtracking.
Tell me about it. I was just complaining about that. Okay, so Desert Cave here. I can't remember if... Okay, yeah, let's take a look at the state of our journal now. All right, so we've got this level 9 quest. That should be right on par for us, and these are all the side quests that are associated with this territory. But chapter 1, we've tidied this up because this is level 16, so this is a holdover quest from chapter 1, but it's well ahead of us still. Okay, so I think we've largely cleared everything up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head to the Desert Cave here. And I'm just going to check for any signs of change there. This is where one of Arashad's God damn it. Where one of Arashad's employees is located. This is the guy for whom we're trying to, collect his lost cargo so that he can... Wait a minute. Stash. Where's Stash? There it is. Okay. Interesting. Because we don't have anything stowed there. But I would assume that we are at some point going to end up having to do that. Alright. So what I did want to do really quick here is just check this. So the market is still on my list. Now, presumably, that should have been evacuated. Now, possibly we're going to go there and find it full of more nomads for us to slaughter, or just empty. Quickly, place your bets before it loads. Quest failed. Scorpion King. What? Okay, wait. Wait. Wrong one. Yeah, we lost a number of side quests there. But why? Why did we lose those side quests? And so now the city we can travel to, but it's just empty. Which, I mean, you know, is consistent with the idea that they were evacuating it, but it seems like a very anticlimactic scenario. And why did we lose those other quests? Now we could have lost those quests because they were relying on potentially us siding with someone else in this conflict. Discovering that there's nothing here, I'm tempted to... No, you know what? I'm not going to reload. I was going to say I'm tempted to reload, but I'm not going to. You know, I don't know what the mechanic there that caused me to lose that was. But I guess what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the latest spot that we had. Down here and pick up where we left off, basically. And I'm torn now whether I should reload or not, but I don't know why I lost quest by just going to scout out the city square. I guess maybe it was confirming that the city had been abandoned and therefore sort of it looks like we've got maybe a way forward here. I don't remember what I was doing down here, but let's check it out. Okay, I remember we had a boss fight here. Alright, so we've got a blocked forward passage here. That looks like something that I could manipulate, but it's not lighting up. So we might need to satisfy some other requirements before we're able to do that. Alright, so let's head back. See, the funny thing is, I don't even really... I failed the Scorpion King quest, and I failed the, you know, recover some loot or something like that. Which is a bummer. We're just going to have to find out what that was. Well, you know, I don't really remember what I was supposed to be doing with that. Yeah, that's fucking weird. That's fucking weird. I don't know. I don't know if that's working as intended. Scorpion Caves. All right. The ruins, the outlands, the nomad camp. Okay, that's where we'd come in. We've got this additional area over here. We've got the shrine over there. All right. There's a possibility that somewhere over here would be accessible via our, you know, using our demon. All right. I'm going to run around a little bit and try to find out where we need to be going next instead of just wasting all your time. And if I find something, you'll be the first to know. Yeah, I actually had a quick thought here. I've come back to the Oasis where we have this blocked bridge. Now we're trying to get to the Tamurian border camp. And he's a Tamurian. So I just wanted to quickly take a poke around here and see whether having him as a character now potentially gives us something we can do here. And it doesn't really look like it. Yeah, so this is still non-interactable here. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure that this is the direction we actually need to be going in, but I wonder if this is like a puzzle of some kind, or like if we're supposed to have some lit, some not. All right, well, I'm gonna keep poking around to see if there's anything we can do to get that bridge to be interactable. Hey, friends, that's not interactable. Oh wow, I glitched him pretty hard.
Are you certain you're ready? We may need to leave in a hurry.
Okay, here we go. Now, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to just kind of bank on the idea that we might not be ditching all of our quests, simply because last time that's not really how it worked. We could go back to the zone before. So I'm going to tell him I'm ready.
Before I answer your question, you must learn how all this began and how it must end.
All right. we might be about to get a bit of a storyline lore dump, so I'm going to shut up and let him tell us some things.
The year that the Theocrat seized power away from your mother, Lady Mara Valkyrin founded the Order of the Veil. Mara had one purpose, the defeat of the Theocrat and the destruction of all religion. The theocracy and your imperial family before it had used religious symbols to wield power. Mara's goal at first was simply to free the world from that oppression. But to defeat great power requires even greater power. And it does not take long for power itself to become its own end. 60 years after the founding of the Order, Mara found a way to extend their power by channeling the essence of the dead god into their own bodies.
Okay, I was about to comment that he could just be delivering this without me having to click continue. I am, however, for the purposes of this playthrough, glad that he's not. Because this is something that always kind of jumps out at me. There's been a number of games that have an atheist option, or in this case here, where they're trying to expunge the world of religion, because religion is misused. I think that religion and the concept of it has a sharply different tone when you're in a world like a fantasy world like this, right? Because they're like, okay, we want to get rid of all religion. Let's do that by channeling the power of the dead god. So you're kind of being forced by the nature of this fantasy world to acknowledge that indeed there are gods, that religion is genuine, it is true. And one of the other games that just popped into my mind is Echelon. It's like a little, I think there's 3 games in the series. They're very indie, kind of cool games. But one of the things that you can do in that is you can be an atheist. And when you are an atheist, then divine healing doesn't work on you, and you're largely immune to certain spells, like divine spells. But, you can't be healed by it. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, like I am an atheist in real life. And that is primarily because I can see no compelling evidence at all that would make me believe that there is some greater spiritual force or anything like that that is acting on the world. Everything seems largely to be explained through physics and through science. And if we don't know the answer to it, in no way does that mean that I need to fill that gap with assumptions of religiosity. I have no problem with people who do, but for me, that just doesn't work. But if I broke my leg and instead of taking me to a surgeon, they took me to a priest and he mumbled over my leg, issued some prayers, and I walked out happy as a clam, I would probably be religious. So it's really weird when you sort of mix in anti-religious or atheist thought patterns into a fantasy world, because it just kind of doesn't fit in a world where religion is constantly proving itself to be valid. Anyway, just a thought there. Let's let him continue telling us about the theocracy and Lady Mara.
It required an artifact, an immensely ancient cauldron sacred to the Temurians that was known as the Crucible of Souls. The Order stole it from Temuria and concealed it in the city of Kyalisa. Using a ritual only known to the Pentanera, the Crucible can channel the essence of the dead from across the veil, the barrier that separates dimensions.
Oh, I know all about that, Krenz.
But what the Order did not know was that there were twin dangers to using the cauldron. 2 centuries ago, the High Sage of the Pentanera used the ritual to channel vast quantities of essence into his body, against the laws of the Order. A dark spasm twisted his body into a demonic creature, and in its rampage, Lady Mara herself was killed. The High Executioner Baron Evanger pursued this outcast mage for centuries, eventually ending his life.
So, is that to imply that basically what happened was he was possessed in the same way that we are, in terms of us being puppets? Does that mean Krenz might have used that to... who knows, we'll find out.
But Mara, although dead, was not gone. The dark spasm had fortified her soul with essence beyond anything we mages had experienced previously. And the more essence the Pentanera channeled through the cauldron, the narrower the space between the worlds became. Mara's soul was eventually found by a demon, a devourer, and she began to plot her return to this world. Meanwhile, Mara's son Serge Valkyrin rose to become the new High Inquisitor. It was Lord Valkyrin who sensed my potential when I was a young initiate in the Order. About 40 years ago, I managed to become Chancellor to the Theocrat. A decade after that, there was a rebellion against the theocracy, and I was able to slay the Theocrat myself with one well-aimed knife blow. My reward was the post of High Sage, which I gladly accepted. With the Theocrat defeated, and religion all but eliminated, the Order began to quarrel. Lord Valkyrin sensed, correctly I might add, that the Order was no longer as committed to its original goal of stamping out religious power by eradicating religion itself. He and his acolyte attempted to seize control of the last remaining relic, the Godslayer sword, in order to destroy its terrible power once, and the rest of the Pentanera resisted them. But the resultant war from within nearly destroyed her. Valkyrin and Avenger were both slain, but their souls were fortified with the essence of the ritual, just as Mara's had been. All those centuries of rituals with the Crucible of Souls had weakened the Veil immeasurably, and the destruction of the Godslayer changed the balance between worlds. Shattered heaven came to impinge upon this world, and the world of dreams that mages had once walked within became shadow. When Lady Mara returned to us, it seemed like a miracle. But I do not trust miracles, and when Valkyrin and Avenger also returned from the dead, I knew my days in the Order were numbered. So I fled and made my plans.
That's really good voice acting right there. I love that.
Carissa was an ally for a while, but eventually they took her life and made her a demon too. With few options remaining, I eventually took the desperate step of summoning you, demon. We have no hope, you and I, unless we can find a way that the Crucible of Souls might be destroyed. I have no possibility of learning anything useful from the Temurians, but you just might. Especially now you have Tsar at your disposal. Destroy the cauldron, and we may yet defeat Lady Mara, Lord Valkyrin, and Baron Avenger. Unless the Crucible of Souls is shattered, you and I are both doomed. What do you want to know?
Okay. Basically, two ways to look at this. One, there's a lot more story in this game than we were led to believe, right? We kind of knew that he was part of this Order. We knew the Order was hunting for him. We knew that he summoned us because he didn't really have a way to take them out, and he needed us. Much has been explained. The other way to look at this is some pretty fucking bad game design. Like, we just sat here for something like 5 minutes listening to this guy do exposition of the plot of the game, which it had not, through gameplay, in any way really exposed us to. It does have a couple callbacks to things that we saw before, like obviously when we had that earlier boss fight with another demon that allowed us to temporarily talk to Clarissa, who was his former ally, when she was not being observed by this demon. So essentially what I think what seems to be going on here is that we have Clarissa, we have the Valkyrin, Avenger, and obviously Mara herself are all possessed by demons, much like we are. And so Krenz seems to have basically thought, look, okay, we've got these demons. They're able to take over my former allies because of the fact that the use of the cauldron has weakened the Veil, which should keep them at bay. So really, he's kind of backed into a corner. He summons a demon himself. to give himself that same powerful ally that they are essentially possessed by. I just really kind of feel like there's got to be a better way than us just getting through the game to this point and then just having to sit here for this big info dump that equips us for the next chapter of the game, where essentially the game was not able to tell us this through gameplay. Well done on writing a story. Bit of a bummer on how you've had to unveil it to us, right? Like, we didn't find any of this out organically. We have to just ask. All right. So we're going to go ahead. We're obviously speaking in terms of, I keep referring to ourselves as Evia, our main character. We aren't. We play as Devourer, who I wish had a cooler name, but he doesn't. All right. So let's question him about a little bit of this stuff that he's brought up. Okay, so first off, the Crucible of Souls, where is that?
Where art the Crucible of Souls now?
Lady Mara moves it between Kyalaser and Thol, according to where the next ritual will take place. Wherever Mara can be found, the cauldron will be also. But she is too powerful. While she possesses the Crucible of Souls, there is no hope of recovering it, I'm afraid. It must be destroyed. You have questions?
Okay. Yeah, and again, like, these rituals, presumably they're just rituals that give mages their power, but that's been kind of eroding the veil all this time. That's not 100% clear, but I think that's what's going on there. Okay, let's ask him how he ended up with these nomads.
Thou worked for Tsar?
Hardly. I feigned capture and service because doing so served our purposes.
You betrayed me, Sage. Deceived me.
Indeed I did, Tsar. Deception is, and has always been, my most effective weapon. Ask your questions.
Okay. This is interesting. This kind of feels like a little way that they're going to explain to us why it is that we can only, why there's a game mechanic around specific characters we can pick up.
Darmok's soul has been lost, but the Ironclad zombie's soul has been taken. Why canst we consume some souls, but not others?
You can feed on the essence of any dead soul, but not all souls are powerful enough to withstand dying. Only those souls exposed to great quantities of essence maintain their identity into death. Although Darmok was in the Order of the Veil, he had only partaken of the ritual once. However, he had channeled essence into the Ironclad zombie in order to maintain it as a servant. That is what allowed you to consume its soul. Go on.
All right, I'll allow that. That's reasonable enough.
Art thou here, or just another projection?
You are wise to question what you see. It is a rare day that I elect to appear in person. I am here at the Oasis, but I will not say where. Shadow projection is far safer for a fugitive mage. Don't you agree? Ask your questions.
I sort of like Krenz, even though I'm a little bit thrown by how they're producing the exposition here. I think he's a pretty interesting character and fairly well acted.
Why didst Evia's soul survive death?
I too would know the answer to this.
Alas, I don't know. Without discovering more about how you died, Evia, I'm afraid this will remain a mystery. But I'll wager you were exposed to essence in your final hours. Perhaps whatever incantation was involved is also the explanation for your loss of memory. Ask your questions.
I deviated a bit from the text. I should have been a bit more diligent reading as well as just listening. Okay, so we can ask about Tsar here.
Why did Tsar's soul survive death?
You did this to me, didn't you, Sage?
I can't claim any involvement, Tsar. You are a veteran of the Accession Wars. Like everyone else who fought in that conflict, you were exposed to the Conclave's final curse. Ask your questions.
The final curse? Explain thyself.
At the end of the Accession Wars, the Conclave of Temuria took desperate steps to try and drive out the invading army from Corwynth. The curse the Conclave unleashed changed Temuria forever, but it also changed every veteran of that conflict too. That is why your soul survived your death, Tsar. The Conclave was foolish to use such a curse. Even today, Temuria has not recovered from the damage their war magic has wrought upon its flora and fauna. Go on.
How canst we possibly trust thee?
You can't. Any more than I can trust you, demon. I have made a living from deception and betrayal, after all.
I can vouch for that.
But then you are a demon summoned without a pact, and you are equally difficult for me to trust. Yet, ironically, we both must trust the untrustworthy, else we are all doomed. Go on.
Enough talking. I would rest now.
Indeed, a good night's sleep would do us both some good. Go ahead and rest. I must enchant the oasis with some alarms in case we are attacked.
Thou trustst no one, eh, mage?
It is the only reason I'm still alive.
Friends, I'm here for your head!
Must you alert our quarry avenger?
You forget whom we pursue, Valkyrin. Krenz knew we were here the moment we were in sight of the oasis.
There are too many escape routes from here. We should not have engaged.
You elemental mages are all alike. You forget the basics. I'll guard the pass. You cover the desert. He'll not escape from here unless you fail me.
They're here. Faster than I expected.
Whom do you speak of?
Valkyrin and Avenger. They followed me. I have cast a celerity enchantment, and am already gone. For your sake, I hope that Valkyrin chooses to pursue me. Take the southern trail into Jagged Peaks. Broken Spear Pass will take you straight to Temuria. They will not follow you there, I hope. Do not try to engage Avenger. It's certain death if you do. But he is a sightless mage and cannot enter shadow. Use that to your advantage. Now go. Go!
Okay, so there we go. We've learned how we unlock the way forward. We have to avoid Avenger. Yeah, boy, that is a fuck ton of information they just dropped on us in there. Basically, like, look, we wrote a fuck ton of script and we can't figure out how to get it into the game, so you're just gonna have a big conversation and talk about it. All right, so no particularly big deal, but we are at 33 minutes. I'm hungry. I want to go get some lunch. And essentially, I'm going to call this session there. Next time, we're going to take on this situation. We're going to avoid Avenger. We're going to drop the bridge, and we're going to go forward. But for now, that's going to be it. Thank you very much for coming with me on this adventure. We learned a shit ton in this one. And next time around, we've got a whole bunch of stuff to do that I'm a little bit excited about. But that is going to have to wait for the next episode. Thank you for joining me, and I hope I see you in the next one.